Hey out there, my Ketonians. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's Keto Tip Tuesday. And I wanted to talk to you about the three biggest mistakes I made when first starting keto. Just get right into it. The first one was protein. Before I started the ketogenic lifestyle, I was used to a high protein lifestyle. So when you talk about moderate, I was doing maybe 300 or so grams of protein per day. And so I thought naturally bringing it down to like 200 grams would be nice. But what I found is that I still struggled to get into ketosis because for me, I was consuming too much protein for my body. And the quick thing about that is, if you consume too much protein, the body will convert that protein into carbs through a process called gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis. But so I found that I was eating too much protein, and that alone was making it difficult for me to get into a state of ketosis. And so now I've dropped my protein over some trial and error, checking my levels, checking my ketone levels. Um, I found that about anywhere from 60 to 90 grams of protein actually works great for me. I still put on muscle. I don't have any negative impacts on my workout. Um, and I just feel better. Like I don't feel as bloated, and I noticed that I actually don't have really gas like that. That's another thing I noticed too when going keto is that my gas has calmed down substantially. Anyway, tip number two: alcohol. I strongly advocate staying away from alcohol when first starting or trying to get into a state of ketosis. There are so many things that can negatively impact or alter your ability to get into ketosis. Protein was one, alcohol is another. Stress can be a factor as well. Um, like I said, with so many things that can impact your state of ketosis, I say stay away from alcohol in the beginning until you start to better understand your body and how it reacts. And honestly, until you get into a state of ketosis. And the reason being is one, alcohol will definitely affect your insulin level. I've heard people say, oh, well, hard liquor has no carbs in it or it's free to drink. And I can go into the science of it, but basically, alcohol is processed very similar in the body to the same way sugar is. Also, too, the bigger point or the bigger thing that I advocate is really alcohol brings out the fat ass in you. Well, at least it brings out the fat ass in me. So after about two or three drinks, I started to get a pretty good buzz. And if I haven't had any food on my stomach prior to that, I notice it makes me more inclined to want to eat carbs. So I go from a world of dreaming about bacon and steaks, and now all of a sudden I have to have 3 or 4 bags of gummy bears. And yes, gummies is my shit, by the way. Love gummies. So I advocate in the beginning stay away from alcohol, just so that way you can get yourself into a state of ketosis. And once you get into that state of ketosis, and once you start to understand your body better, you can start to have the drinks and kind of see how it affects you, how it impacts you, how it affects your mental state, and things like that. Because one thing I will say that was a huge learner for me too on this lifestyle is one really good fuck up for me can set me back anywhere from 4 to 5 days. So it takes me about 4 or 5 days on average to get back into a state of ketosis once I've fallen off, even with one meal. Some people can do it quicker. Some people it takes even up to 1 to 2 weeks. So once again, why gamble with that if you don't have to? And this brings me to number three. The biggest thing and the most surprising thing was water. Um, Water is so important. One, when you're first starting off on the ketogenic lifestyle, you will piss a ton. So you'll spend the first week or two pissing out of this world simply because you're not eating those carbs. And the body will just begin to shed water because it's not having the excess glucose in it and those excess carbs. So you'll begin to shed water. With that, you'll need to hydrate. So that's always a very important thing about hydration, hydration, hydration. I can't stress it enough. Hydration, hydration, hydration. But with that lack of hydration, for me, and you may find it yourself, you may experience this too, is the sense that growing up, ever since a young child, growing up, and even so until recently, I have always identified hunger and thirst as one and the same sentiments or as one and the same responses in the body. Whereas I have been trained to treat thirst as if it needs to have food. And so when doing this lifestyle, I noticed that I often fed myself at times when I needed to rehydrate myself. And so by drinking water, by quenching that thirst, by keeping the body high in fluids, I started to learn the difference between what thirst felt like versus what hunger felt like. And when you begin to understand that connection, that relationship, it allows you to build a better relationship with food. So what you eat, you know you're eating because you are truly hungry. Versus the body saying, hey, I'm kind of parched. I need you to rehydrate me. And you feed yourself a burger for some reason because you think in your mind, you've trained yourself to believe that once again, thirst and hunger should be met with food. When thirst should be met with hydration in the form of water, um, definitely water, stevia sweetened tea or coffee, or any other low cal item that you have. With me having anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of carbs a day, I just try to stick with water, and maybe 1 or 2 cups of my intra workout that I like to take. So, and that only has a total of 2 grams of carbs per serving. So, but these were kind of the 3 biggest things that happened to me where I felt like it set me back and it kept me from getting to a state of ketosis. Once I made those changes, it has been clear skies and smooth sailings. I hate to sound cliche, but really, it really has. It's not until I may be out somewhere else and I have one of those surprise items where you think it's good, but then in hindsight, it's like, oh, it's really not. Caesar dressing being one of those, but I'll talk about that at a later time. But look, if you want more tips, if you have any questions about the keto lifestyle, or if you have anything else you want me to talk about, definitely let me know. Only way I get better, only way I give more relatable information is if you let me know kind of what's going on or what you want to hear more about. But this is Los over at Fire Fit, and I hope you all have a good night.